All right, back with another one on Don't Believe Me, Read It For Yourself, and don't send me your money, keep it, or give it to somebody who needs it. So today's discussion is going to be about kind of apologetics with Muslim people who believe in Islam. And I was talking to some Muslims today, and the discussion was intellectual reasons of why you were a Christian was the question posed. So the intellectual reasons are numerous for being a Christian or believer in God. Christianity, so you kind of have to give specifics for apologetics on the historicity of the Gospels, right? Why do you believe them? And so my response is that the Gospels were written by eyewitnesses during the times of other eyewitnesses, and so they were able to with that, they were able to accurately describe the events that happened. And if there were discrepancies or problems with what was written, eyewitnesses of both, believers, Jewish people, Romans would have documented that. Like through historical documents, the Jewish people acknowledged that Jesus existed. They say that there was a lot of people called Jesus. That he declared that he was God, and that's why he was crucified. Roman secular documents, historical documents, agree the same. So what they wanted to refute, which is kind of futile, because Muslims believe in Jesus. They don't think that he was God. They don't think that he rose from the dead. They think that he will come back and judge everyone and take people to heaven, but they don't think that he was God. So it's kind of, their beliefs are a little weird. Anyway, so we started to discuss manuscripts, and they, Bruce Ehrman is Ehrman, Bruce Minster, Chuck Minster, I can't remember, Ehrman, off the top of my head, sorry. He's like one of the most renowned atheist scholars. And one thing that he does is acknowledge Jesus existed, but he says some of the manuscripts, only date to 125 AD is like the most recent, and then there's like bits of manuscripts. So for Muslims, their argument is that you can't rely on the Bible. So whatever. But so we started to have discussions about the manuscripts and when they were written and when they were discovered. And it's kind of futile because they referenced, atheist scholars. I referenced Christian scholars, Bodhi Bakum being one of them. And then they said I was appealing to authority, which, undeniably they were doing the same thing because they mentioned atheist scholars. So I kind of, I said, well, we can agree that Jesus existed, you admit that. So regardless of what they believe in the Gospels, Jesus existed. And then I was giving them verses that proved the Trinity to show that Jesus was God. And, you give a verse and, they don't agree with what it says. So then I try to give another. So for the Trinity, I give Isaiah 54:10. Where it's God talking, but he is saying he's talking to the Jewish people, to the Israelites. He's saying, and you are my witnesses, and I am declaring, the Lord, that I'm sending you a servant, and he's essentially paraphrasing, saying that he is saying I am he. So he is saying, God, the Lord, is saying that he is the servant. But they're disagreeing on that. And then so I gave another verse. We go to Revelation to talk about Jesus when he is saying that he is the Alpha and the Omega. And then I reference it back to Isaiah. And then, and then it's the accusation is that I can't give a verse that just gives them the exact answer that they want, and that I keep giving multiple verses. And so the reason you give multiple verses is because you're giving credence from Old and New Testament, or giving credence to the New Testament verses with the Old Testament with the New. So it's relying, and what that does is corroborate your story. And so the point, Rome gets excited when he sees other dogs. So the point being, there, I couldn't get the point across because the subject came up of I can't, I couldn't. Well, he wouldn't let me share any more verses after I gave him the Isaiah reference from Revelation. But he was saying that Jesus was telling people to pray to his Lord, or he was going to, pray to his God. So how can he be God if he's praying to his God? And then, I explained to the Trinity and on our own physical sense of how we can understand it is H2O is water. We know that water can be frozen solid. We know that water could be liquid. We know that water could be moisture in the air. So one thing, water, H2O, can be represented in three physical different states. But we know it's all water. If you went to somewhere where it was only cold ever, only frozen, and the people there only knew ice, then they would never believe you that it was an aerosol. They would never believe you that it was a liquid, right? They would just say that it's something different if they couldn't test it for themselves. So that's the same thing I gave for the analogy. I was like, how can the Holy Spirit, how can Jesus, and how can the Father be God? Well, they can all be God because it's just the same as water is. It's just different states of being same God, same substance. So it's hard for some people to buy, but it is what it is. So just do your best. Just know that there's verses for that Muslims that try to prove Christianity fake, or that they use to stand on, but they don't typically understand them. There is same thing with the LDS Church, the Jehovah's Witness Church. They all have, and the Catholic Church have verses that they give to try to refute. But if you look at them, just like I said, take it as a literal translation. If you look at it as that, and don't try to distort it into a parable or a hyperbole or poem or anything, unless it specifically says. Because like we said, the Bible will tell you if it's a parable or hyperbole or anything else. It'll tell you specifically. Then it's not. Take it literally. So anyway, don't believe me. Read it for yourself, and don't send me your money. Keep it.